Searching for a 21-year-old man who went missing almost a week ago. What took place the night he
What's up, everybody in the chat? Thank you for tuning in. I'm gonna wait a few minutes for my guests to come in. Let me play my song real quick, though.
Get the bag. Y'all niggas know what it is. You know we get the bag. And you know we get the bag. And you know I get the bag. We get the bag. Look at the whip. Check out the wrist. Walk in the club, already lit, got niggas on way, hold up, got bitches on go, come on, got perp out of town, so you know we gon' blow, she threw my pussy, so I'm throwing money, in it over, now she put it on me, never met on the VIP, nigga looking like he wanna run it for me, chasing 100,000 on me, one for calling us 100 homies, 20 bitches out the club, take to the crib, and do the whole party, and you know we get the bag, no bullshit, we really get the bag, pull up in the form, hop up with a form, hit the mall and pop tag. When the nigga was a young boy, I thought I was getting the cash. Hey, a nigga getting the money, so you know a nigga gon' ride. Still keeping hood kills all good, dreams still on sad. They can tell me the work cause it's so fast. And you know we get the bag. And you know we get the bag. And you know I get the bag. Run it up, she wanna ride around in the Billy truck. Run that nigga, then I broke it up, run it way back, get it made back, suck it up. Started playing with the game from the trip. And she man, you was saying she the rip. I get the bag, I've been the level when I do the dash. All I want cookies are blast. When we get your bitch and I smash. I'm a suicide of those, just a pledge, just fine. I don't want to stand up right here. I'm gonna turn 100 to a million over legs. I'm gonna take the check, be dance, we blood. And my neck white coat, BBA, I'm gonna go, crystal like milk, like milk. Bad nose over myself, I'm gonna buy everything on the shelf. Mommy, you buy with the water like Phelps. Keep the sea, keep the quiet, don't tell me. Young nigga up my world, my trip ain't fed more club. I feel like this my year. Straight for the million on my ear, I'ma get the bag all year. I'ma hit your bitch from the rear. I'm up in the coat with the gear. Flying in the race with the shears. So we get the bag. You know we get the bag. And you know I get the bag. We get the bag.
See, a lot of people talking about this whole R. Kelly situation. They fail to realize this man was actively working with a lot of artists. This man was minding his own business until a group congregated and decided we're going to take all of our personal feelings and attack this one man. The problem with that is they put all this propaganda in motion. And the whole time I've been sitting here showing you along the steps that they took to manufacture this whole RICO case against R. Kelly and the things that individuals were doing out here that did affect his case. That's what this live gonna be about. In case you ain't figured it out, after this live, you can go and check out some of the videos that I dropped around the same time that Mr. Ronnie Bowe was incarcerated with R. Kelly. Now, this live also is going to prove one major emphasis that I've brought with my content. It don't really matter if you believe any of the people telling these stories about R. Kelly. But at the end of the day, a man's rights were violated. And a simple point that I made was, if they can do this right in our face to the king of R&B, what chances does anybody else face when some of us don't live in a bubble? Some of us face profiling, discrimination, and wrongful convictions in real life. But you can't reason with some people on the internet who just want entertainment, who never heeded none of the stuff that I told you that was affecting this man's case. And the simple point I made, especially when it came to this RICO, whether you believe the man was a little guilty of this, a little guilty of that, I don't give a fuck. Excuse me. Wait a minute. It really don't matter since they demonetized my channel. I could pretty much say what I want. But we know that certain people that's going to start attacking this live. So I'm going to try to keep it PG-13 because we all know when I get to talking about the topic at hand, I get a little bothered by all the things that we've witnessed and nobody wanted to say nothing, anything. But then when it hits home and they start thinking about their family, and then we hear these stories about these inmates being wrongly done. We see the black people doing the same shit. Oh, let's wait and see what happens in his case. Let's not support him. He must have did something. And we don't see the problem. We don't see the problem that I've been talking about for 5+ years, seem like. It's the hypocrisy for me. Some of us have people that are incarcerated in regular jails. Me personally, I don't know anybody in the feds, but if I know some of the things on the regular jail level that are going on as far as corruption, if I know how inhumane these individuals are being treated in these facilities, and there's a possibility that these people in these facilities are not guilty of the charges being manufactured against them, and everybody just want to sit back and wait and see what happens. What if a man's life hangs at the balance of everybody waiting to see what happens? As some may know, recent news has come out that R. Kelly is having some health issues right about now. And again, the man has been exposed to COVID twice. The man has been sick on numerous occasions. The man is in an unsanitary environment. And people seem to me like they're just waiting on him to just die. That'll make it easier to collect on these royalties and other shit that talk about was the major focus for some when they sacrificed this man's life. Now, I've seen a lot over the last couple of days, and maybe when Ronnie Bowe comes on, we can clear the air on some things that have been a little bit unclear to some of the supporters. Number one, a lot of people had a problem with me, quote unquote, silently dissing them because of some of their shenanigans. But if you go to other interviews, you will hear Ronnie Bowe himself speak on the fact that inmates in there during the time of the protests were bothered by the fact that these people were implicating new rules. Those that have never been in jail or in contact with people don't seem to realize they're on a schedule. So if they're being limited and it's mainly because of a certain reason, as he said, they want to approach R. Kelly and tell him to tell these people to simmer down. But hey, as supporters, you want to make noise, right? That's cool. But when you disregard the fact that it's going to affect not only R. Kelly, but other inmates in the facility, that's when I had an issue. That was my issue, not specifically anything people wanted to do to help in their perspective. So as I've watched people just freely attack me for no damn reason, I'm questioning why people are so inquisitive when it comes to Ronnie Bowe per se, considering they got all these connections, they get all these emails, they got all these sources. It's just certain shit you should know, right? I'm gonna play a song as I see what's going on with some other guests that I wanted to join this live because I feel like they will add some balance into my perspective since a lot of people don't like what I've presented to you, even though you seen the same thing I seen. Remember that. Just give me 1 second. I'm gonna play a song and I'll be right back. Um, Ronnie, how you doing?
Oh, you got me on here now?
Yes, I just realized you were down there. I'm on my phone, not my computer.
I'm good. How
But
you?
I just wanted to let you know that I invited two people only because, I feel like they've been here, they've seen everything that we've seen, so they just gonna sit in the background and then after we have a conversation, then we'll chat it up.
Hmm.
But how are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Been listening to you. I like how you speak. You very well spoken young lady.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Thank you. Well, of course, we've already had a conversation. So here's the other person that I wanted to just sit here. If you want, I could put them backstage until after we do the interview. Either or.
So, baby, do you?
Yeah, I just didn't want you to be uncomfortable or to feel like you were being ambushed or nothing like that. But like I was telling you before, I faced a lot on this internet. A lot on this internet. So I don't want them to be a distraction to our conversation. But of course, like I said, they've been here and I don't want anybody to feel like I'm being misleading in anything or any other conversation that we have.
Hmm.
So, why don't you introduce yourself to the people that may not know you um, or haven't seen your other interviews?
I think the caption addressed me well enough, but I'm just another nigga who was locked up with R. Kelly. Cool with R. Kelly. Happen to be a book author. I'm a songwriter as well, independent, but just another inmate that was locked up with R. Kelly, basically.
So, in your other interviews, there were specific things that you referenced that I wanted to document for this channel, of course. It was number one, the farmer incident.
Uh,
um, when it comes to that, it's a lot of people have been rallying up their own sets of supporters on each channel, right?
mm,
So, as you have heard, there were protesters out there during this whole thing. And when we were hearing about the restrictions that were going on, of course, there was concern with individuals causing further disruptions there. So I noticed in something that you previously said that you and the other inmates, you all kind of wanted R. Kelly to notify somebody to let these people know to stop coming down there, correct?
Yeah, we was pissed off. I mean, we had been on 24-hour lockdown and deprived of phone calls and showers and all other privileges, all other rights that is. But they had just opened everything up. I think this was like the end of October. Could have been could have been early November or something like that. But he had people come up there like 3 days in a row, and every time, they shut down the building, which means that we couldn't come out and make a call, or we couldn't come out and get in the shower. You know what I'm saying? We couldn't do shit. So we was pissed off to the point where it's like, man, R. Kelly gonna have to tell them stop coming up here, or I mean, it was other people other than Farmer who wanted to do something to him behind that, but you know, we actually had love for R. Kelly in there, so we wanted to avoid doing something to him. We just wanted him to say, look, tell them they fucking up our phone calls and showers and recreation period. So they kept coming, and somehow his door got open while Farmer door was open, and Farmer went in his cell and put his hands on him.
Now, I've heard a lot of people talk about this with such shock, but realistically speaking, something like that could happen to any other person, right?
Yeah,
As far as them wrongfully letting two inmates out, and I give the Young Dolph situation, his shooter or the person involved in his incident was on the way somewhere and he got beat up, so there was issues with how they were transporting him. So the fact that people are just so oblivious to hiccups like that need to be addressed within the facility is kind of an issue for me when people so freely, as I was previously saying, R. Kelly didn't have these people going up there doing it. This is something they wanted to do to show their support. So nothing nobody could say, not even his brother, could convince them to stop. So you could understand as supporters and we're watching this, we feel helpless. Like what can we say? What can we do when nobody's gonna listen that hey, we should think about his safety. You can protest anywhere else. You could protest at the radio stations, at the wherever. But why where someone could actually physically harm this person?
yeah. I mean, we was told in there that his brother was leading the protest though, so that's why everybody was asking him to reach out and have his people, stop coming up there so we can get our call. But
Hold up. Who was told that Bruce was leading a protest?
that's what inmates was told. Shit, that R. Kelly supposed to have his brother leading the protest, gathering people and coming up there to protest for him. I mean, that was just a rumor amongst inmates though.
Right. Okay, so another thing that people are so in disbelief because we're in fan mode, the charges that were hit with R. Kelly. Wouldn't anybody with common sense want to approach that with caution? Like, you're not saying that you think he's guilty per se, but it's just certain ways to handle situations, such as they wanted people to just be out here freely, just on a campaign. R. Kelly's innocent, not respecting people's personal space, and still not understanding how, in my perspective, is feeding into this intimidation narrative the prosecutors want to paint.
What you mean by intimidation narrative?
Such as the paperwork details how this so-called enterprise would harass, try to blackmail and things like that to other people. And then when you go to the Surviving R. Kelly, you have them saying they're being harassed by R. Kelly fans and supporters and so on and so on. So there's this narrative that R. Kelly supporters are harassing and trying to intimidate people.
Yeah. I don't know nothing about that, but since I spoke out, to be honest, I'm like irritated with some of his supporters. Like I ain't gonna say no names. It's one person who I would shout out, and her name is Tiffany. She been one, but everybody else is like it's just a lot of phony shit going on. Like I guess my video, the first interview I did went viral when I'm speaking highly of R. Kelly and speaking about the lawsuit that I filed that he in, and it's like they want attention, they want fame, and they want to make money off portraying this image that they are R. Kelly supporters. But I mean, unfortunately, he really don't got a lot of real people in his corner. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, and that's part of the reason why he in there now. Like everybody who supposed to have his back, turned against him for money, fame, or whatever type of other perks that the government, you know, might have gave him to, ruin his reputation or whatever.
I just had to pause for a second because I know exactly how you feel, as I told you last night. It makes you just want to say no, this shit crazy. It make you feel like he, like you said with the protest, he got to know these people. But I don't sincerely believe.
Most of the people, it's just his situation's so fucked up. Like he willing to accept help from anybody who actually willing to help him. So these
Right,
all supporters, most of them don't really know him. You know what I'm saying? And if
right.
they do, it's people who reached out, and like even when I was locked up, I was locked up for a drug case that I wasn't guilty of. And I was hurt that people who I felt like should be there wasn't there. So when people would pop up who I didn't even really expect to be there, I'd be excited, like, damn, well, at least I got some type of love and support coming in. And that's how he feel like, okay, well, this person seemed like they willing to help me, but when it all boils down to it, a lot of them either, you know, trying to get some type of fame or money off of helping him, or they probably sent to him to, fuck him over.
We we up here, we watch this. We know this. So when I saw you, I heard your message. I don't think nobody else. And when I saw them swarm around you like the vultures they are, I don't know. It just,
Yeah, and then I'm a different type of guy. Like I've been done cuss their ass out of, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't play that fake shit. There's a lot of fake shit going on with him. It's at the point where it's like, I rather help him behind the scene. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't even want to fit in with that crowd. Like all that fake shit. I distance myself from that. They acting like they there from some. The last few people that hit me about R. Kelly, I had to ask them like, look, is you a real supporter? You know what I'm saying? How do I know you're a real supporter? It's like three different people saying that they getting emails from him, he calling them and shit like that. But I mean, I really been getting frustrated, really, just off his so-called supporters. Like I just hate that fake shit, really.
Right.
You look lost in thought though. What you thinking about?
Again, we've watched this, and I'm trying to mind my words, because I'm frustrated. I'm upset. I'm mad.
You too? Hmm. I mean, see, my thing is, I'm another nigga who was in there. Like, even the people who guilty of crimes, you know, it's people who up in there who really don't deserve to be in there. You know, people who might have non-violent crimes or people who just really not guilty. You know what I'm saying? And I was one of the people like I got a criminal history, so it's easy to make me appear to be guilty of, what they said I did. You know, I got a history of selling drugs, and they frame me as a a, a member of a drug trafficking organization. So it was easy to frame me in something like that. But the struggle of just being locked up with something you didn't do, fighting, people turning against you, you losing loved ones, not just to like situations like death, but like you losing them in situations where it's like, damn, I've been there for you all your life and you ain't even write me and check on me. You know what I'm saying? You didn't send me $20. Like that shit kind of fuck with you. So for me to go through that and see him go through that on a much larger scale, it just bothered me. And knowing him as a person, like he really a good person. He really a good dude. And I heard his side of the story, and I just know, I wasn't there, but I just know he didn't do probably 90% of the shit they saying he did, and he shouldn't be in there. So it get irritating when it's like, so-called people supposed to, they portray this image that they they're helping them. You know what I'm saying? But they they really want like the attention that I'm getting. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing all these fucking interviews. It's crazy. I can show you texts, people offering me money. You know what I'm saying? What's your cash? I'm gonna send you money. Like, what the fuck you sending me money for?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Send it to R. Kelly. Send it to his lawyer. Why you sending me money? You know what I'm saying? And even on the if you go back and listen to the interview I did with Infamous Sylvia, it was people on her show, you know, asking to send me money. And it's like, for what? What you sending me money for? I didn't ask for that. That's not what I'm here for. You know what I mean? But
Right.
most of his so-called supporters, they want that. If it was them, they'd be happy to send their cash app and, you know what I'm saying, benefit from supposedly helping him, financially. And it just, I can't do that fake shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really got love for R. Kelly. Again, he a good dude. I know how this government is. They corrupt as a motherfucker. They frame me in cases. I'm not just fighting for him, but I'm fighting for people like Larry Hoover. I recently filed a international lawsuit against the United States government in the International Court of Justice. So I took it out of the jurisdiction of the United States government because that's the only way we'll really get justice. And I'm a follower of Malcolm X. That's my role model, and that's one of the tactics and strategies I learned from him. So that's what I'm on. Like, even if you look at Larry Hoover case, like it just so corrupt. They put wires on his visitors. You know what I'm saying? His visitors didn't even know that they had wires on them. And whether he told them something incriminating or not, like, y'all broke the law to get this conviction. Y'all can't do that. So the case should have been thrown out because y'all didn't lawfully convict him. You know what I mean? It just so
Right.
much corruption. And I'll be pissed off because our people, like black people, like, man, our people just so fucked up in the head because it's like, if this was our country, most of our people was the judges and politicians and governors and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? The law enforcement. administrators and all that, and we was to do what they doing R. Kelly to one of their people, you know
Right.
what I'm saying? They gonna stand up. They wouldn't be able to. We wouldn't be able to get away with it. But we allow this shit to happen to our own people, and they sit back and laugh for this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They put the motherfucking surviving R. Kelly documentary out before they even charged him. And
Right.
I'm I just I just got new news about that. Like one of his closest supporters informed me that Jay-Z funded that project. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know how true it is, but I'm looking into it and just putting the pieces of the puzzle together. It looked like that might be true. And that's fucked up. But I just know how this government works. Some people like they'll say me or R. Kelly hating on Jay-Z because he a billionaire and he's successful. But the people behind him, they control this shit. They got real puppets out there. They milk people like Jay-Z so he can control the rest of us. You know what I'm saying? And they work through people like him to fuck over people like me and R. Kelly. You know what I mean? So
Right.
people just gotta wake up. Like our people's just so fucked up in the head. Like everybody, the whole black community should be supporting R. Kelly. They should be able to read between what the fuck they doing to him and just like we like that can't be true. Like just read between the fucking lines. Y'all know this shit not true, but y'all want to believe this dumb shit. Like I don't get that shit like that.
Oh, so that was another point that you made that I also wanted to highlight here. In the facility, in the prison, as you said, most people didn't believe all this stuff they're putting out here on the media. Like a lot of these fans, they were able to monetize and capitalize off of playing on people's emotions. Like, we got to do this, we got to do that. When reality, most of us over here, we don't follow red media. We think about the shit they putting out there. We look up the people who putting it out there. So when it comes to Jay-Z funding it, I wouldn't put that out there, but what I can say is that we know Dream Hampton produced it. We know her affiliations with Jay Z. They put on the record that he declined to participate in it, but we know that they came up with this janky ass company, Bynum and Murray, that I don't even know if it's still operational at this point. But anyway, they came up with this shell company to produce Surviving R. Kelly. So it's possible, but I would just connect all the, just
That's what I'm saying. Look at what you just said though. He directly connected to the people who produced. So why people can't read between them lines? Like
and guess who was working for Vibe magazine when the whole Aaliyah situation popped off? Dream Hampton. So you want to play with people's emotions with this whole Aaliyah situation. You want to keep printing about this so-called marriage. Every interview he do, you ask him about it. He say it's not true or respectfully answer it in a way that he don't want to disrespect her legacy. Yet you got people that got up, woke up out they sleep, I guess, and decided we gonna make this against the law that he did this 20 years ago. We're not gonna charge him for the crime, but we gonna charge him for what this other janky ass fool did. We ain't gonna charge the official over here who allegedly took a bribe, but we gonna say R. Kelly is a RICO. Like, make it make sense.
you can't make that shit make.
So again, a lot of people don't know when Epstein got caught up, a lot of these Hollywood influencers and all that got caught up too. So when you see John Legend, funk ass, and his wife, and they don't talk about all the shit they was saying about little kids, but want to jump on the Surviving R. Kelly bandwagon, that's the reason why I research people so that I can know the character of the people giving you these messages instead of just, oh, they must be telling the truth. They're a celebrity. So they lie too.
Yeah, they the biggest liars. All this shit is deceptive, man. Like I really don't. our people, like I said, our people just so fucked up in the head. Like anything you put in the media, people believe this shit. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's a reality show, a lot of these reality shows be scripted like a motherfucker, but you know, people swear it's reality and talk about it forever,
Right.
act on it, and like like I explained in the last interview, you know, it's a pattern of this. You know, they did it to Michael Jackson, they did it to Mike Tyson. They they said Kobe Bryant was a rapist. They said Tupac was a rapist. We all love Tupac. No, we ain't feeding to that because we love him so much. And see, he knew how to articulate himself though. You know what I mean? He knew
Right.
himself, so he was able to convince us, like, man, hell no, Pac. But everybody else is not articulate like that. So it's easy to frame somebody like R. Kelly because he got all this freaky ass music. You know,
Right. Oh, and did you know that his attorney is representing Larry Hoover also?
yeah, Jennifer Bonjean.
Right.
Yeah, I just found that out a couple days ago. She the one did Bill Cosby case, right?
Right. Did the appeal.
Yeah, yeah, I heard about her. Some of his, well, all of his supporters been sending me a letter from her that she had just filed on behalf of R. Kelly for the jail because you know they doing the same thing they did to me, and I have a current lawsuit in the Northern District, Illinois, against MCC Chicago. It's case number 22CV05440, and R. Kelly's is added in the lawsuit, but it's just crazy that they still doing this shit. You know what I'm saying? After I done sued them, other people sued them, and they doing it to somebody so high profile. But I understand why they feel like they can get away with it because they getting away, the government getting away with everything else they doing to them. So
Right.
right now it's like they, you know, his health condition's not so good right now, and it's like they rather allow him to suffer and die in that motherfucker than provide him with proper medical, adequate medical treatment.
Right. And that was another point of concern that people fail to realize. Okay, let's say we have this person who's wrongfully convicted, or any of these inmates who've been wrongfully convicted, dealing with this COVID, unsanitary conditions, no urgency to get medical treatment. Like, it seemed like I was saying earlier, it's almost like people will watch and see what happens with your lawsuit per se, and then decide, oh, I could do that too, instead of uniting and let's get some shit popping all together.
Yeah, that's been my whole message. Like, we got to come together. I mean, I don't think we'll ever be able to convince all black people to come together, but people like you, me, you know what I'm saying, who actually got some sense, a little conscious. I think I think we can make it work if we come together on some real shit, you know what I mean, and support people like R. Kelly who they try to fuck over and display unity in situations like that so the government can see like we not letting y'all get away with fucking over our people like that. You know what I'm saying? That I think that'll inspire more people like us to come together with us.
Absolutely. And that has been my message all this time, as I'm trying to fight, bob and weave between people who say they support R. Kelly, those who hate R. Kelly. At the end of the day, if we had showed these people, we're not doing that. The same way Michael Jackson fans got up and got on Eminem ass, that's how R. Kelly fans should have been on fucking Me Too. When they come up talking about mute R. Kelly, they should have been at the front line. Instead of worrying about me and my opinion, you should have been there 2017 with y'all bullhorns protesting then. Okay? But they didn't want to do that. They wanted to sit back, and even as they watched this whole Surviving R. Kelly docuseries, even as they watched this man continuously be railroaded in the media, They still don't grasp how, hey, you probably got a cousin sitting in the jail right now. Wish somebody called him. You don't care. Wish they can get a bonbon. Wish they can get a bag of chips.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
looking at your son right now doing some of the same shit that these people want to demonize at their whim. It's cool when they want to do it, but then when they get a little regret or feel some type of way, now we gonna change the laws. Now we gonna bend the statute of limitations, and we gonna forget people still got rights out here. And just because you want to let the people tell you what to do don't mean somebody like me just gonna sit here and go with the program.
Mm-hmm.
So I gravitate toward a person like him who followed Malcolm. Cause I couldn't have followed Martin sitting here recording shit, not doing shit. Oh, fuck that. We finna fight. You gonna record me whooping ass before you record me turning the other cheek.
Yeah, that's what I've been on. I've been fighting. I've been winning. You know what I'm saying? If the government watching, tell them check the score. If I win one more, that make me 3-0. You know what I mean? They
So hypothetically speaking, what if R. Kelly did join your lawsuit?
it'll get a lot more traction. And then I know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? I'm winning these lawsuits. You know what I'm saying? Well, I won't say winning, but I'm grabbing them by the balls and making them tap out and say settle and say, okay, would you take $50,000? You know what I mean? It's different. It's a difference between actually going to court and the judge saying, well, yeah, you won. But they've been settling, and they gonna settle this when it. If R. Kelly was to all he would basically have to do is sign and say, yeah, this happened to me too, basically. If if
Right,
if he was to do that, of course, it just get a lot more traction, media attention. That's what the government don't want. They hate when they wrongdoings is exposed in the media. You know, a lot of the shit that they do, they try to keep in the dark, and they use situations like with Russia doing in Ukraine to distract us from what they doing over here to our people, what they doing over
right,
to black people. You know what I'm saying?
right,
That's what my lawsuit is about. Like, fuck what Russia and them doing in Ukraine. Look what about what y'all doing to us over here? What about
right.
it to me, Larry Hoover, R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, Michael Jackson, and the other 40 million black Americans? You
They
know,
still waiting on reparations around here. Reparations.
I'm fighting for that too, though. Did I send you the international lawsuit I have?
No,
I'm gonna send you that.
but obviously that is the reason why I would gravitate toward a person like you is because all these people that claim they doing this and doing that for R. Kelly, it's like, don't you think that Art you should have been telling him, hey, why don't you sue these people? He threatened to sue life surviving R. Kelly. He threatened to sue Faith or whatever, and all these people on the internet claim a certain individual was doing stuff on his behalf. So with that being said, just like I said about these accusers, instead of running to Sony talking about mute R. Kelly trying to get his royalties, if what you say happened to you, why wouldn't you sue Sony? Just like if what is going on with R. Kelly, sue them. The same way it was talked about that he's suing when he was put in solitary confinement.
Hmm.
Why wouldn't, instead of talking about you want the DOJ to hand over the findings of this investigation, even though they've already played their hand and showed you they're dirty, go above them.
See, that's easier said than done, especially for somebody like him. Like when I was locked up with him, I was basically telling him what you saying now. But for one, he had to get over the stage first. He was scared to deal with me, not because I'm no gangster, no killer, but he was afraid that like he didn't know if he can trust me either. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm a stranger. I met him there. You know what I'm saying? He don't know me or my history. And then, you know, as I explained in other interviews, I was plugged with the GDs in the Fed. So, amongst mobs like that in the Feds, everybody have to show their paperwork. So I had the GDs go holler at them and basically just let them know I'm official and I'm not out to get them. But he took that as a threat. He came to my cell after that, like man, what was that about? You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't never questioned you or nothing, but it's like, no, bro, I'm just letting you know I'm not one of these niggas who out to get you. I don't have no fucking wire on. I'm genuinely trying to help you because I don't like what they doing to you. I don't like what they did to me, and that's why I sued. And I'm just trying to show you how to get justice for your situation, like I've been getting justice for mine.
Right.
But that's another thing. Like a lot of us, especially black men, we got this post-traumatic slave disorder to where we still slave minded. Like we'll believe these white folks before we believe our own people. So
Right.
of course he gonna believe his white lawyer and take his white lawyer advice before he take my advice. You know what I'm saying? He'd rather give his white lawyer $250,000 for their advice and for them to file something. But me, it looked like, nigga, you in here with me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Why would I take your advice? You know what I'm saying? Well, I get it.
And you said something that hit home as far as when you have an attorney, even have an attorney, the fact that he had I guess just say dyslexia. He had issues reading and things like that. Because he had those type of issues, it would be hard for him to be hands-on with his case, of course, and then the trust issues. But the point that you made was even when you pay these attorneys, you still got to, help them along with defending you because it's your life at the end of the day. A lot of the things that his attorney Greenberg said on the record was concerning, especially when he got to saying when the money runs out, he's going to get a public defender, and saying other things like Aaliyah lied about her age, which we know was untrue, meaning maybe he wasn't in complete conversations with his client before he ran to the media. So when we, the people, see that his defense is pretty much ineffective when it comes to the paperwork they were putting in and the effort they put in the court, do you is it kind of I don't know how to word it. Do you understand how some people were able to take advantage of his vulnerability and why he is at a point to where he's willing to, as he said, take the help of a cockroach?
Yeah, absolutely. They still taking advantage of his vulnerability. And that's why I'm getting frustrated because I didn't ask for all these people to start reaching out to me about R. Kelly, but at first I was willing to speak with them and see what they own because I genuinely want to see justice for R. Kelly.
Right,
But 99% of the other people seem like reaching out is like y'all ain't never dealt with somebody like me. I could read between y'all bullshit. I've been in the feds with the sharks and the cartels and the mob bosses, the big meaches. We all sharks. You can't run that fake shit on nobody like me.
right. That's why primarily I didn't want to say this is an interview. It's more like a conversation because hopefully we can keep building on it. Because, like I said, I feel like we can build on what you're doing, what we should be focusing on doing as a people. Because as we keep saying, we understand this is bigger than R. Kelly over here. That is not our obsession. We want justice for R. Kelly, but we also want justice for anybody that's being mistreated.
Yeah, for sure. It's just his case. It's just a prime example, and it's all in the media. Like if
Right.
we can expose the corruption of what they did to him, then that open the doors for every other, black American to say, look, this shit happened to me too. They frame
Right.
cases too. My whole
Right.
and for my whole case, all my charges is corrupt or I've been framed too. It's a lot of, trust me, it's a lot of people locked up for bogus cases. Like another example, it was while I was in the feds, the Latin Kings in Chicago had an indictment, right?
Hmm.
Now the person who was supposed to be the leader on the indictment, he worked for the government, right?
Right.
So he telling other members to do this and that and calling out hits, saying kill this person. You know what I'm saying? But he really worked for the government. I'm talking about this. The dude who was supposed to be the leader was a real government agent. You know what I mean?
Right.
So he telling these people to kill people and go get these drugs and do this. So the government should be indicted because the government was the leader of the organization. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that's how corrupt the shit.
That's how I feel about all these janky ass informants in this R. Kelly case. I'm telling you, they've been running amok. I'm telling you, we need to sue the government because god damn it, these motherfuckers been playing with me too long. I want to sue somebody.
I'm gonna
I do.
show you how to do it. I got your back.
But you said you were an author. I was looking at another book that popped up, but the one was it something about a prayer.
The Holy
What
Trap.
the whole okay, the Holy Trap. What
Yeah,
is that book about?
it's just a black empowerment book, but I gave it a sacred holy name because I really feel like God worked in me to write that book. And I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but if you read the book, it was published in 2016, and I forewarned people that the COVID pandemic was coming like 5 years ahead, and it all occurred around the time that I said it would happen in my book. You know what I mean? So, in the Bible in Deuteronomy, I think it's chapter 18, verse 18, 19, somewhere up in there say, a prophecies will be fulfilled. And if not, then he a false prophet. But everything that I prophesied in the book came true. I even said the government gonna frame me in a case after I published this book, and they framed me in a case 6 months after I published it. Like they really framed me, and this is documented proof. If you look up my lawsuit in the Eastern District of Wisconsin, case number 17 CV 1192, all the documentation is filed in that case that proved that I was framed, and that's how I beat the case, and that's why they had to settle, for a significant amount of money in that case. But it shit really happened, so that's why. I mean, I not just believe, but I know God worked through me to write that book, so I just gave it a holy title.
That is what's up.
Yeah,
That's what's up.
thank you.
See, I like this vibe over here. We is chilling. Okay. They say they like you over here in the chat.
Oh, that's nice.
Shout out to everybody in the chat though.
Yeah,
But
tell them all I said much love and respect. If you 100, I love you.
right, right. Let's say. Okay, another point I wanted to hit was during that time frame, and just for the people in the chat, during the time frame that Ronnie Bowe was in there, I also put in my community wall some videos I did during that time so you can see what was going on with the supporters over here who was trying to talk some sense and let the world know, hey, this was going on. Anywho, during that time, you had mentioned that one of the Jane Does would come and wave and make her presence known at the facility, right?
I thought that she came up there literally down there every day. I thought that was his most supportive person in his life. It was supposed to be his girlfriend.
Right. And did he know at that time that she was in the paperwork as far as you knew?
Man, hell no.
He didn't know.
She was coming to every visit she could make, and like like I explained, MCC Chicago, like most jails you can't see out the window, right? But it's
Hmm.
like a skyscraper is one of the biggest buildings downtown Chicago, and it's like parking structures. You can see the rooftop on these parking structures, right?
Hmm.
People will tell their family to come out there, and some people family come out there and wave. Some, you know, some some of the guys how their girlfriend come up there and bounce their ass on the rooftop and shit. But his girl, she used to just come out there and just wave every day. You know what I'm saying? Do this weird ass wave, but she was there faithfully, like literally every day.
That is crazy that he didn't know, but we knew out here that she was in the paperwork. And the question we was wondering is, why would the government have this Jane Doe still going to visit him in the first place?
That's how they do. But see, I thought that they flipped her and showed her some emails that he was sending to other women. That's what I heard, that you know she was really being loyal, but somewhere down the line, the the CEOs worked with the government to get some of his emails and stuff, and showed his girlfriend these emails to show that he was communicating with other females, and that's how they supposedly flipped her against him and got her to work with them against him. But that's how they work. They did me like that in my case. Like the female who was my girlfriend in my indictment, she was still writing me. She was still putting money on my books, but the whole time she was telling the government that I had her trafficking for me. Like I was sending her to Chicago to buy large quantities of drugs and bring them back to me in Milwaukee. And then I was allegedly having her serve Milwaukee drug dealers on my behalf and all type of shit. But the whole time she telling them this and making these statements, she accepted my call. Ooh, babe, I can't wait till you get out. That type of shit, sending me money. So it fucked me up in the head when I looked at the dates. Like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Like, we was cool. You was writing me like this shit crazy. But
So she knew.
yeah,
So in your purview, the government is not going to put somebody in an indictment who's not anticipated to cooperate.
yeah,
Or will they put somebody in an indictment and do things to help them um, go ahead and participate?
that too.
See, that's where I'm at. I think either A, she was playing a role trying to act like she was the ride or die chick, or B, she was just acting like that and waiting on the perfect opportunity to flip the script. Cause she been in that damn paperwork, and ain't nobody on this internet gonna tell me they didn't know. Cause I showed you.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, that's interesting. So, what did happen is there was a lot of so called intimidation of this same person. And according to R. Kelly, in those emails that were exposed to her, it was him telling the other girlfriend where to get some money behind the couch, and some other emails that the blogger posted, right?
Yeah.
So not only that, there was other individuals meddling in between. So it was a combination of things going on to help her cooperate. But I think this BOP email leak again, it don't seem like, just my purview, he wants anybody to be arrested, but at the end of the day, it gives a loophole that I've been saying, because these people are openly violating his rights.
Yeah. And another thing too, see, with me being in there, I know that they have some of us on mail monitoring, and I was explaining this to one of R. Kelly supporters earlier, somebody who currently in contact with him every day, but like they had me on mail monitoring, you know, and when they got you on mail monitoring, if I send out an email right now in there, you know, it's sent, but before it's sent to, you know, the recipient that you actually send it to, they get it, and they gotta
Right.
whether they send it out or not, and they could take,
Right.
they could read this and say, well, it sounds like he talking in code, so we ain't gonna send this until we figure out what the hell he talking about. You know,
Right.
they keep record of all this. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, and when they have you on mail monitoring, the order comes from the government directly,
Right.
and can't no correctional staff make that order. It has to come from the government. You know, so I,
But you could expect somebody that is being accused of being in a RICO to be in that situation where they're definitely being monitored.
yeah, that's why I know his mail had to be monitored because, of course, he was way more profile than me, and my mail was monitored. So
Right.
and shit, compared to R. Kelly, you know, I'm a nobody, but it was people like most of the members of El Chapo cartel dynasty, the Sinaloa members was up in there, so you had a lot of other high profile people up in there who they felt like they had to watch. You know what I'm saying? But even though R. Kelly wasn't no notorious drug dealer or cartel member, he was somebody with a very high profile case who they probably wanted to slam just as much as they wanted to slam El Chapo itself. You know what I mean? You hear me? Hello?
It was cutting in and out.
Could you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I don't want to mess up your show. We
How
good?
you doing? I can hear you. Not a dog barking.
Anything else? Any
So
questions?
so as far as that, do you not don't it seem odd that in a RICO and you're trying to establish that R. Kelly is inciting these people to do all this stuff on his behalf, or as you said, in agreement with these people doing stuff on his behalf, but they don't have any communication that confirms that while he all this time he's been incarcerated and them monitoring his mail, they can't pinpoint him directing these people to do the stuff that they allege.
Did the people who allegedly did this stuff, did they tell on him or lie on him and say that he told them to do this and that?
Well, they were on public platforms saying that I'm doing this on his behalf.
See what I learned, and I'm not saying it's just to take up for R. Kelly, but you know what I did learn is that a lot of the females who he allegedly was fucking or trafficking or whatever they want to say, he never even met most of them. It was people in his entourage, you know what I mean, who no, for real though,
I've been saying that shit all this time. I swear to God, these people swear I'm crazy as fuck. But most of these girls was dealing with the bodyguard. Yeah, like, yeah, okay, go ahead. My bad.
bodyguards, the entourage. I mean, the same thing happened to Tupac though. If you look at when they put a rape case on him, he never actually really had contact with this female, but they was kicking it, and the guys that he was around had sex with her.
Right,
They probably did rape her, but because Tupac is the center of attention, why not put it on him? You know what I'm saying?
right,
You're not gonna get no publicity or no money or nothing if you put it on the guys around them because they probably nobodies. But if you could say Tupac did this to me, then you thinking, oh, he a movie star, he a rapper. You know, I'm gonna be famous off this, and he gonna have to owe me. He gonna have,
Child.
so that
This
that's that's what was really going on with R. Kelly. Like it was people who around him who was fucking these girls, and And like I said in my last interview, like you, I can't. You look young. I don't know if you 17 or 27. You know what I mean? I don't. So
Hmm.
I'm not trying to justify him fucking no young girl, but sometimes when you just partying and you kicking it in, it's a bunch of females around and you see one you like, that really don't always cross your mind and say, how old you got an ID, how old is you? You know what I mean?
Especially when you're in a spot where you're supposed to be 18. Like if you at my court date, for example, and you supposed to be 18 to get up in that bitch, but somehow you in there watching. Don't that tell you that how he gonna know she ain't of age if the courts never realize she ain't of age?
Yeah. Not
Like those are the type of situations he found himself in that could readily be talked about that people want to skip around while they say, well, he must have did something.
now let me tell you why that's a good point. Do you remember a 14-year-old girl was on the stage with Akon in a club that was 21 and up?
Mm-mm.
Okay, look that up. Now he supposed to been messing with her. He got all type of backlash, lost all his sponsorship. And if you rewind that situation, you look at what I'm saying, Akon moved his ass to Africa after that because
Mm-hmm.
he know what happened to Michael Jackson and Kobe and Tyson and Tupac, and he just knew like, okay, so now y'all finna try to do me. You know what I'm saying? Like for one,
Right.
she in a 21 and up club. I didn't tell her to come on stage. Two, and now that she on stage, it's not crossing my mind. Damn, she could be 14. How am I know that
Right.
it's 21 and up? That's the club owner and the security fault for letting her in here. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I think R. Kelly should have took his ass to Africa or something too.
It's crazy. It seemed like he would have got a whole lot of love there because them
Even
people in Africa love him.
even Kanye took his ass to Africa. I
Right.
go to Africa.
You see what Russell Simmons did? He seen Me Too. He said,
Yeah, that's
hey, that's a good idea. You know what? When I just heard you say Me Too that many times, that sound good. Y'all need to take that Me Too movement over. Y'all need to start that shit and make it about the inmates. Like all this shit, Me Too, man. Me Too.
yeah,
All
that's
this shit that's happened to R. Kelly, Me Too. Like y'all tripping. I've been saying the same shit. Why everybody want to focus on R. Kelly? Think about the other brothers. Think about the other people.
yeah.
But I think this was a great conversation. We can leave it right there and pick up another day. We're gonna have to plug that book because again, that sounds real interesting.
Or if that one,
Real interesting.
with you being a female, my other book is entitled "Value of the Vagina."
I
And
seen
yeah,
it.
that's a women's empowerment book.
Yep.
I ain't know you was this pretty either. I might have to get you on the cover of the next book.
Oh, they gonna get mad. Let me stop blushing.
You model too, right?
I did.
Yeah, I did a little research on you too. Make sure you weren't one of them crazy support.
Yeah, they out here. They doing the most. But anybody in the chat got any questions? Cause I think I talked about the farmer incident that, like I said, R. Kelly didn't have nothing to do with them protests. His brother didn't have nothing to do with him. Far as I knew, he was in jail. So
No, see, inmates crazy because inmates was saying like they'll point them out. Like I said, we could see outside. They'll point this one dude out and be like, "Man, that's his brother right here. He did have him come up here." No bullshit.
I swear to God, you know why that's so funny? Cause people can make a great storyteller in jail. I swear to God, they'll make some shit sound real spicy in jail. And what always got me is how people in jail know shit before people outside. Like, how the fuck do you know this shit going on? But when I'm watching this circus around R. Kelly name, you mean to tell me ain't nobody told him These motherfuckers wilding out here. Ain't nobody told him this shit going on. Like, seriously.
He knew because everybody was on his ass, basically. Like, man, you got to tell them to stop. But he was saying he ain't had no control over that. But it was
Right.
like, no, that I know his brother. That's his brother right there. You know what I'm saying? So this people was
Oh my God, that is terrible that somebody got to go through that and they honest to God telling y'all, I don't know these niggas. Like when this man, they attach some bullshit charge when these people try to threaten the Jane Doe, for example. R.
yeah.
Kelly don't know these niggas. Like what the fuck is you steady charging this man for shit and he don't know these people?
I'm saying that shit definitely not funny. It actually pissed me off, but
It, like,
they do. They do shit like that. That's why these supporters starting to irritate me because now it's like you're not the only person who that's why it's bothering me more because I'm getting all type of people I don't even know in my inbox saying, watch out for his so-called supporters. They snake and this and that. So like
oh gosh.
I mean, shout out to infamous Sylvia. I got a good vibe from her. I don't know, but the only person I really been in, you know, close constant communication with is Tiffany. I'm a good judgment of character. She seemed like a good person, but I can't really vouch for none of them other supporters, so-called supporters. Like they really gonna find out that you know my role model is Malcolm X, but I could go Tupac sometimes too and cuss their ass out. You know what I mean? But
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. And another point, I think I skipped around, and when we were talking about Jay-Z, the whole purpose is again, when we get to comparing stuff, and it's very interesting that one of these Jane Does came out with a story talking about she was dealing with Jay-Z and R. Kelly. Now, the media ran with the part about R. Kelly. I ain't say shit about the Jay-Z part. The same blogger that was violating this man's privacy came out with that story and tried to discredit that accuser. So, from my point of view, don't it look odd if they want to pick and choose which person they want to protect in the industry with these allegations? They want to believe certain accusers and discredit others and not see how, as a whole, it makes this whole Me Too movement a joke.
look, I tried to leave Jay Z out this time, but man, fuck Jay Z. You know what I'm saying? Like for real. To be honest, R. Kelly wouldn't even want me to do this because he's not that type of person. But
Right.
I'm a lyricist. My career been held back by this corrupt ass government, and now that I'm back out, I'm finna put out some of the best rap music y'all ever heard, and I'm finna diss the fuck out of Jay Z. You know why? Because for one, I'm not one of these niggas who got no ties to him, and like I was explaining in another interview, Jay Z so powerful in the music industry. If I was to put out a hit record right now, he could tell the people who work at the Grammys, look, do not nominate that nigga. Do not let him perform. He could tell the BT Awards people, do not nominate his ass. Do not let him perform. That's the type of monopoly they got. They could blacklist people like me or people like R. Kelly. Like I don't know if you looked up, but I was on the top 40 charts for Drake and Lil Wayne stealing my song back in 2009. And
Mhm.
I got locked up around that time, so it wasn't nothing I could do about it. But you got puppets in this music industry who directly connected to the secret government. And I was gonna hold back and not say much about it, but I mean, fuck them. They done did everything they could do to me except kill me, and I ain't worried about that. If they kill me right now, people still gonna read my motherfucking books. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm just not. I'm not worried, and yeah, I'm on Jay Z ass. Fuck Jay Z. Free R. Kelly.
So, what would you say about the people that tried to say that R. Kelly was a gatekeeper in the industry?
I mean, he wasn't no gatekeeper. It's just the people who put money in his pockets was basically telling him, like, they started saying that about him because it was talented artists in Chicago who he wouldn't sign. And
Mm,
they didn't know he really didn't have, he wanted to sign them, but he didn't have that power to sign it. You know what I'm saying?
right.
These people who write his checks, he got to answer to them. And they saying, no, we don't want that type of music out. This what we want you to put out. You focus on this. This what we paying you for. You know what I'm saying? All
Right.
that shit. No, you're not gonna sign them, or we gonna cut your ass off. You know what I mean? But
So
he,
it's interesting you say that because do you know Cheryl Mack?
no.
That's London on the Track's mother, who was an assistant for R. Kelly, who was also trying to manage other people. So I feel like with you saying that, it kind of aligns with what I feel about the fact she was bringing girls to him, trying to do her little management thing. She get mad when things don't pop off, and then here we go with this book and this vivacious story about how he abused the girl.
Yeah, you got spiteful people like that. You know what I'm saying? Once upon a time, I had fucked this guy girlfriend, and he used his outlets and platforms to try to bash my name. It happened on all levels. You know what I'm saying? In every field, every industry. If you got any connection, you could be a motherfucking nurse. If somebody in that system don't like you, who plug with somebody who got the right to fire you, more than likely your ass gonna end up getting fired. You know what I'm saying? Same way in the music industry, it come down to them connections. And you got to do some real fucked up shit to develop them connections in that industry. Like, even I ain't trying to go Kanye West, but just listen to Kanye West so I don't have to say it. But
Right. And
as
I actually heard you say something that I've been looking for this video. I don't know where it went, but they took it off YouTube. It was somebody from Death Row. And you were basically talking about how artists or they've done artists in a way where they drug them up and do all this weird shit and record them and shit.
also, you heard somebody else say that?
Yes, it was somebody from Death Row. He was doing some type of interview, but that video disappeared off of YouTube. But the irony is in it is if you go back to R. Kelly video when Alexa Sky was in the video, at the end when he wake up out the bed, he was like, "What happened?" She said, "You recorded it." I just think that is the weirdest shit to
That's
put at the end of that video.
that shit go on. See, that's why I'm being a voice for R. Kelly right now, because I'm not saying he's soft. He just, they got him in such a fucked up situation that he kind of scared to speak out. You know what I'm saying? But he knows some shit that'll shock the world. He just scared to speak out because he see what they already doing to him. So
Right,
he don't know what they'll do next. You know what I'm saying, at this point. So I won't say he's soft, but he just afraid for his life right now. But I wish he would speak out on some of the things he told me and other inmates about that industry. And if not, I'm out here now. So I'm finna speak out like a motherfucker. I'm finna put this shit in songs and books and interviews and everything else to get the word out there, because they doing our people wrong. Even in that industry, like, a lot of our people really be like slaves. Like, we see the fame and the jury and the houses and car. They don't even be owning that shit. They be
right,
a motherfucker. They be
right.
in debt, and if they don't do what these people who writing their checks tell them to do, they gonna just take all that shit back. You know what I'm saying? So they not happy. They not happy, and the people behind them be really demonic. They'll really tell you
Right.
whole ass shit like sacrifice somebody you love. See, I don't even want to get off into that, because you know that's another topic. But just know that shit really be going on. That shit ain't no conspiracy theory.
Right. And are you aware, like, okay, something else that stood out that you said, as far as him writing songs for Michael Jackson we didn't know about? Another thing I noticed with the Cheryl Mack lady is she had gotten some music credits on his album. So do you think it's possible because R. Kelly wasn't into the paperwork and all that shit, people were defrauding him, putting their name on his credits and shit like that, you know, as another way for them to get a additional check.
You see, in that industry, and like I know from experience, like when I started doing the music, my manager used to always tell me like just focus on the music,
Mhm.
focus on your creative part. I got the business part, but
Right.
and you can't do that. R. Kelly probably felt like that was best for him at the time. Look, I'm gonna just keep writing these great songs, keep going number one, and I'm gonna let them do the business part. The whole time he not knowing they fucking him over with them contracts and agreements and everything else they putting together. You know, he's still seeing a check, so he not thinking about it till he look up. Excuse me, he look up and see Jay-Z worth more money than him.
Mhm.
Find out, damn, if Jay worth that much, then I should be worth this much. So
Right.
let me go back and see what's going on with my shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's
Exactly.
exactly what happened. It one day he was hating on nobody like Jay-Z. He started waking up. He started seeing like I got all these hits. I done wrote for Michael Jackson, and you know Michael Jackson worth 2 billion. So why I'm not worth 2 billion? You know?
Right.
Yeah. And at that point, when he seen that, he had hope that he can go back and fix those contracts. And when he started doing that, that's when people started coming after him because everybody else was eating off of his ass more than he was eating. And once he started waking up, like, look, hold on, what's going on? They knew it was gonna fuck up their pocket. So what they
Right.
no, you're not finna fuck up our pocket. We've been eating off this shit for years and you ain't know. So stay in your place. If not, we gonna say you fucked her and we're gonna give her a couple dollars too to say it's true, you know what I mean?
Right. And if y'all notice, that's why I played that specific R. Kelly song in the beginning to get the bag. If you notice, it was recorded in 2018. So this again, when he's telling old Gail that he's waking up, he go to the bank, he realized, hey, this ain't right. And I'm telling you, some of these janky ass people already let me know he was trying to track down his money. So with that being said, clearly this platform don't care what you think about R. Kelly. I knew from the moment I started digging into the paperwork that a lot of this revolves around fraud, corruption, etc., etc. So to keep building on that, I would love to do some things with Ronnie Bowe, where he's headed and where he can take us instead of keep running around in circles chasing the damn circus. Cause I'm over it. And that was the point of this live, in case you didn't get it.
I'm gonna make one more point for you. Now in the music industry, they have this thing called creative control, right?
Mhm.
And that's one of the aspects in every contract that you gotta sign to.
Right.
Like in Tupac case, he argued against creative control because they didn't want him to put out songs like Brenda Had a Baby and Change the World and all that other inspirational shit that he was putting out, right? But he
Right.
now with creative control, they have people like R. Kelly, a lot of R&B singers put out. If you listen to like Charleston White, one of R. Kelly's supporters sent me an interview where Charleston White was explaining. You remember that song? I forgot who sang it, but it'd be like you may be young, but you ready. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a lot of songs out there like that.
That Pretty Ricky, it ain't nothing but a number. Why? How y'all talking about a Leah song when Pretty Ricky did it?
Okay, now it's a lot of songs out there like that.
Yeah.
And in primitive times, like music was a form of voodoo. And
Yeah.
the people who control the industry now, they know that this shit is still like voodoo. They know that they could put this shit in your head and have you thinking like this based off a song. So
Fact.
a lot of if you look at a lot of R. Kelly hits. Most of his shit was sexual, but some of his biggest hits was like "I Believe I Can Fly," "Stepping."
Mm-hmm.
No, that's the real R. Kelly. But they
Right.
had control over his shit, so they was able to tell him, "Nigga, make a song called Age Ain't Nothing But a Number." Cause you know what I'm saying? If you get where I'm going with that, like that's Aaliyah's song, but he wrote that.
Right.
He got other songs where it's like, another song he said, "Show me some ID," right?
Right.
Like, of course, who else is he talking about? He ain't gonna tell a 40-year-old lady to show him some ID, right?
Right.
But at the end of the day, they had creative control over his music, so they could tell him to put shit like that in his music. So when people look at R. Kelly, they say he telling on himself in his music. Okay, go back and look at the contract then and see that his label had creative control over his music. You know what
Right.
I mean? That's all I want to say.
And anybody with common sense, again, you're trying to market. You're gonna market this new artist with the person that you want to attach her with. Like they could have took her over to Gladys Knight. Why they ain't do that?
Yeah,
So, like, people in this whole R. Kelly saga, they double talk. Oh, he was telling on himself. All his music was about preying on girls. Well, no, it's not. If you look at his whole body of work, plus what he wrote about, wrote for other people, like, you can't put him in the box. But I believe that's another reason why they started deleting his videos on YouTube. 3 channels were taken down of his, allegedly. So that's why they trying to mute R. Kelly. They want to try to silence him and whitewash. And then we gonna start hearing all this catchy little music that sound like R. Kelly, and we gonna be like, hmm. We gonna hear all the samples later on and wonder why everybody else can make money off R. Kelly but himself.
yeah. Now, let me give you one more point on creative control in the industry, right?
Hmm.
Like I explained how Tupac fought against that, right? But one of the agreements was, okay, we'll let you put out songs like that, but you gotta do at least 2 or 3 songs like this where you talking about murder, killing, and all type of shit. So
Right.
they made him put out "Take Money," which was one of the most derogatory diss songs anybody ever make, where he talking about fucking Biggie Small's wife and killing his kids and all that type of shit. Like, I'm not saying that Pac wouldn't have dissed him, but he wouldn't have talked about killing his kids and all that extra shit if it wasn't in his contract to do that. Like, that's what creative control come down to. They could tell you what type of music that you have to put out if you want
That
the,
that
if
makes sense. That makes sense, especially when people asked him why he was going at certain people, and he said just to sell these records. It ain't nothing personal.
yeah. But that's
So,
all.
yeah, that's crazy though. That's crazy.
That's all I got though.
Um, with that being said, Big Vi, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I've been listening, man. I've been.
Being that you've been around, I wondered if you had any questions that I might have missed. I'm gonna come back with drop some content on the live to align with the things that Rodney has revealed, the things that were going on during that time, and the fact that we just need to again all come together, look at the bigger picture, and as I've said, do something more proactive than going at each other, because that ain't it.
Give me before he speaks. Could you give me 1 second? I gotta get this other charger.
Okay.
Thank you.
You did your thing, Prim.
Thank you.
Most definitely. This is a
I
good.
said, I already know where this finna go. I seen where it was finna go. I said, let me put some grace out here because we ain't all like that. We don't all do that.
It's
We know our place over here, and we here to assist in any way possible without interfering with this man's judicial process.
Right. It's some principled people over on this side. I mean, that you see somebody on this side dealing with
Shit going out.
Could you hear him?
Your audio went out.
you there, pretty.
Yeah. So, did you have a question for Rodney before we get off?
He
Pretty much he touched on a lot of the points, and like Chicago being like one of the most corrupt places in this country, man. And it goes back from Al Capone to Fred Hampton to Jeff Ford, Larry Hoover. I mean, the list goes on of how much corruption just in the city of Chicago alone, and like to fight, and that's what is see him himself just listening to him articulate. He one of the worst thing that this world fear is an educated black man, and when we talk about Tupac, he had that gift to lead, and that was another danger to the community because he didn't want to wake, they didn't want the people to be woke, and
Right.
he spoke on the media. I always say one thing. I always said, when did the black community start depending on the news media to tell us our news? Like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? We know what goes on in the hood. We know when we hear a situation how it could have went down. A lot of things that we just seen and witnessed over the last 4 years. We've seen a bunch of opportunities come out and take advantage of this R. Kelly situation to benefit for their own self gain with no purpose of changing nothing, you know, and that's why I stood up. That's why I stood out and I spoke, and I'm not afraid to speak because I don't care what people think and what people may say, because at the end of the day, if you worried about people and their opinions, man, you'll never get nothing done. You gonna be on the right side of justice or the wrong side. I mean, that's it.
Would you offer any advice, because I'm pretty sure you got the same bombarded that he's got, that I got, that everybody that utters R. Kelly name got.
The best advice. What he say? Like you gotta use your discernment, and like I do on my platform, I'm firm. I don't tolerate no type of bullshit. You come in there with the bullshit, I kick your ass right out and keep moving.
Ain't that what I said? I do not play that shit.
Don't entertain it, because I always tell people, man, bullshit like cancer. When you notice this there, and you start worrying about it, then the shit get to spreading everywhere. But long as
Absolutely.
you treat that shit and kick it up out of there and keep going, nothing. I tell people all the time, the devil, nothing, negative energy, any of that shit don't exist in your life when you don't acknowledge it. But once you entertain it, that shit, you give it a place to be. And when you give it a place
Absolutely.
to be, it's gonna resonate in everything you do. So I'm big on positivity. So Prima Donna was one of the people that, when I met her, I stuck with her. I call her my sister. I support her in everything that she do. And it's vice versa in return. So I'm gonna always surround myself in people that walk in the same path as me. You know what I'm saying? If you pulling against me, what the hell am I doing walking with you? It don't make no sense.
Right.
That's the difference, and that's a big. I heard you talk about Martin and Malcolm. Martin he had a good idea, but you pulling against Malcolm, because Malcolm's strategy was, when Martin realized what he had done, what did he say? He feared that he had led his people in the wrong direction. He should have took the steps, the approach as Malcolm. If Martin took the approach as Malcolm, we looking at a whole different America right now today.
Yeah.
But one thing you said is Chicago is corrupt, and we know the history behind they had a whole task force to take down the corrupt ass people, and still we see. But at the end of the day, we know all this government has been corrupted, and it's because people don't challenge some of the things that they do openly. Like we act like we scared to open up our mouth when they do stuff, but let us do something wrong. Oh, we got an opinion about every goddamn thing.
Right. And y'all talk.
Everything.
I'm big into. I watch a lot of the history stuff. Just last
Right.
the Fred Hampton, because people they started putting out more and more information about what really went on and took place with them. They tell you about how the federal government, and this is just like with Ronnie Bowe, R. Kelly, they put a hit out on Jeff Ford and made it seem like the Black Panthers tried to take him out. Instead of them coming in, they tried to use Jeff Ford to go against the Black Panthers and create a war. So they did the same shit with the Panthers. They put a hit out on the Panthers and made it seem like it was because back then Jeff Ford, they was the Rangers. So they made it seem like the Black Peace Stone Rangers put a hit out on the Black Panthers. So what they tried to do is have a war in the community amongst the black people and let the black kill the blacks while they sit back and benefit from it. But the shit didn't work because of the respect that Fred had for Jeff. So therefore, what happens is you get a nigga to go commit a crime on the street that has nothing to do with nothing. This shit that Black Panthers was doing was what the communities are missing right now today. Feeding,
Right.
helping the kids with education, helping the parents with employment. You couldn't be a black, or you couldn't even be a Black Stone Ranger back then with Jeff Ford in case you had an education. You wasn't dropping out of school to go gang bang. Because gangs back then wasn't made for gang banging. They was protecting the community. So this guy who committed a crime had nothing to do with nothing, black guy. They used him to infiltrate the Black Panthers and set it up the stage for them to come in and kill Fred Hampton. And this is what we seeing with R. Kelly. They using people that's close to him to set the stage for them to come in and arrest him, come in and charge him. Now he's locked up. Y'all study bringing more people saying, oh, he's associated. Oh, he's associated. And these people that's in here, oh, like the girl gonna say, they put my hands behind my back. I don't give a fuck. You still didn't have to tell.
Right.
Stand on what you believe. When this
Stand
principle
up.
come into play?
Facts.
Hey,
Facts.
that's deep. That's deep. It's crazy too because in a lawsuit that I mentioned earlier that I filed with the United Nations against the United States government, I break down the whole scenario of Jeff Ford and basically like how, for example, in Ukraine, they need help. They got a whole government against them. But when Jeff Ford reached out to people like Muammar Gaddafi for help, they call him a domestic terrorist and,
Mm-hmm.
and use that to give him life in prison. You know what I mean? So I didn't just petition for R. Kelly and Larry Hoover, but I also petitioned for Jeff Ford and other people like that who experience similar injustice in America.
Mm-hmm. And it's crazy, even them giving Jeff Ford grant money and then turn around and say he extorting America. Come on, you gotta make
Right.
but
Right.
a lot of people,
Hold on. Is he still under the 23-1, like no human contact?
Yeah.
See, that I can't fathom. Like I ain't spent but 10 days in jail, and if I would have been by myself, ain't no goddamn telling what I would have went crazy. Like ain't no way in fucking hell I could sit up in no damn room and,
man,
and not have nothing to look at,
oh,
nothing, nobody talk, nothing.
and they try to make the man a domestic. They deem him the domestic terrorist. But this is what y'all created. Y'all created this person. You know,
Exactly.
this is what this like. We look. The industry created R. Kelly. In the same industry that created R. Kelly, now that he want to take control and say, when I look at the Love Letter album, when he was talking about I don't want to be known as the weatherman, the Pied Piper, R. Kelly. I want people to get to know Robert. And
Absolutely.
he said that was a bold statement to me, that he understood that these personas that these people have created, people have really looked at it. Robert don't exist. Robert
Absolutely.
have an opinion. It's the Pied Piper. It's the weatherman. It's R. Kelly. That's what. And when he
And
came
that was my whole point. When people get obsessed with R. Kelly, we need to breathe life into Robert Kelly. That
out,
was my point.
y'all can have R. Kelly. Y'all can have the Pied Piper. All these
Right,
personas, y'all can have them shits, because it's Robert Sylvester Kelly that matters to the
right,
world, the person. And when they person, then what they do, they benefit off the personas. It's
right,
crazy. And this shit gonna continue to go on, because you got black people. Oh, I don't like Ronnie Bowe. So I got about group of 10 niggas that I run with. I'm telling them I don't like Ronnie Bowe. So anything they hear negative about them, guess what they gonna do? They gonna run and spread it, because Big Vi don't like them. Doesn't
right,
don't
right.
dislike this, because maybe he hit my woman, so I dislike him. That don't mean that's just something that happened. But we live in a society now where people will dislike you because another person don't like you. You ask them why
Right,
you don't. I ain't shit. I just don't like because old boy, man. My homeboy don't like you.
right,
That makes sense, bro.
Yeah.
right,
You living in a world nowadays, man. You gotta have your own set of morals, your own set of principles, and no matter what I do in life, I stand on what I believe in. I can fuck with anybody. Just because you don't like this person, that they got nothing to do with me. I'm my
right.
own at the end of. But if I fuck with you, I'm stuck with you. I ain't gonna let nobody disrespect you. You ain't finna tell me, oh man, prima donna, bitch. That's my sister. She gonna hear about how I fucked you up. I'm not finna go back and tell her, hey, prima, this dude said this. This is the problem with people. The world, man, a lot of times I have to just sit back, because I know, even when it comes to this stuff, I'm not an internet thug. I'm not finna come on here and make threats to somebody. What I'm gonna do
Right,
when I see you, that shit don't mean nothing to me, because when you see me, you gonna have to really live what you talking about. So I
right,
keep it from going there. You come in my chat with bullshit, I just kick you out, because I'm not finna argue with you. I'm not finna talk about you. And Ronnie Bo, I know you back home, you on these streets, you in this YouTube world. Man, just be mindful. Anytime a person come to you, and what I've discovered, they come to you telling you to watch a motherfucker, you gotta watch them. And that's the real.
absolutely.
I ain't even asked you about nobody for you to come telling me not to fuck with somebody. So what is your motive?
Yeah.
That's why he said something that I really liked when somebody was trying to warn him live. It was more so like I could talk to anybody because hey, I'm standing on what I feel, and that is what really drew me to him. The sincerity I felt in that, because if you're sincere with what you're talking about, regardless of where you go, it should be the same, right?
That's
For sure.
my question.
Someone questioned that were you offered any money by any bloggers, media since you've come out talking about R. Kelly to say something bad?
I'm trying not to respond to that goofy ass shit because I don't want to be rude and disrespectful on your platform. But I swear I just covered that when in other interviews they offered me money and I turned it down and said this shit not about me. This shit about R. Kelly. You know,
Now he was asking to exaggerate to make up a lie or something like that because as we know, a lot of people have been compensated to come on these platforms and come out one way and then start bashing R. Kelly the next moment. So it's usually because people offer them money or some shit like that.
Right.
yeah, I know that brother don't know me, at all. So I can't really take it as disrespect, but with me having the type of integrity I got at the end of the day, it's still an insult. You know what I'm saying? Because ain't nobody finna buy me out and pay me to do shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I was
Right.
over R. Kelly. I got love for him. I hate what they doing to him. You know what I'm it's been a time I actually cried in there just seeing what they doing to him and knowing what
Right.
they did to me. You know what I mean? Or what they was doing to me. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm doing this shit.
Oh,
Right.
do you recall since we got Ronnie Bowe here about the time he said that R. Kelly was attacked? And this is probably the reason why the guy asked that question. As you recall, the one guy who came on from jail that said he was in there when the situation happened to R. Kelly, but he said R. Kelly was going around crying and
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
all type. This is he was crying and like the dude. The story was so like he went from there. Then we seen him on the next platform. He was talking about the man so bad it was ridiculous. Like
Yeah, yeah.
a lot of people.
It's people out here that it's crazy that they don't realize it's other ways to get money than to take money to get on these platforms and further do damage to this man who ain't did shit to nobody.
Mhm.
Like that makes us mad. That these people get on here every day to taunt people like me, people like Big Vi who stand with R. Kelly with a pure heart just because we stand by him. They play with our emotions every day and just wait on us to spaz the fuck out. So I don't think it was meant with a malicious intent with the question. I just feel like again we've been on this roller coaster with this man and
I
we just want to do something to change this narrative.
Yeah.
I really like your stance though, and like you say, man, you're an educated brother. You put together, and that right there is enough of a threat by itself. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
People have
I,
to.
I agree 100% when Big Boss said that. When I saw him, I was like, ah, it's like one of those eureka moments. Aha! Finally, a voice. I love it. I love it. I hear you.
I'm
If
real.
don't nobody else say it, I hear you. And if I could help, just let me know.
If my people sent it to me, I'm like, normally I don't really listen to people talk. And when my people send me videos, check this out, look at this. And I went and I looked, but you know what? What sealed me when you had that paperwork up, I say, look, that's real. I know what that means. People ain't toting around paperwork if they ain't solid. You know what I'm saying? That means a lot. And that's why I tell people with our Kelly case, I say, you go to jail, they gonna have a paperwork party. And this niggas in there can read your paperwork and read your case and tell you what he's been accused of. You're not finna be in general population around people cause that's unacceptable on all levels. Then we gotta be realistic. I'm realist. We in the hood. You think in the hood, a motherfucker finna be able to go around and deal with 14, 15-year-old girls and motherfuckers just finna turn the blind eye. Yeah, your homie might do, but her family ain't finna let you get away with that shit. They don't
Right,
care who it is. They try to make it seem like black people just don't have no fucking integrity to where we would just allow shit to go on in the hood and just turn a blind eye. Yeah, sometimes somebody might get away with it, but when that shit hit the surface, that person or individual ain't finna be able to come back in the hood just like willy nilly. Like, here I go. I got to
right,
for the next 14, 15-year-old girl to take out. No, they don't go on like that. We police our own, man. That's how it always been.
right. Did the people in the facility did they know there were no actual minors, like current minors, in this man paperwork?
I mean, I never went through his paperwork, but you know, R. Kelly, he wasn't a gang member or nothing like that, but the ties that he had in Chicago had him with the Blackstones for whatever reason. You know, that wasn't none of my business. You know, in any mob in any prison, you know, the rule is nation business is nation business. So I don't know what he had going on with them, but in situations like that, they the only ones who basically, you know, responsible for checking paperwork and seeing if his paperwork good.
Okay.
So that says a lot because one of the major points I pointed out when he was attacked was he's been there all that time. And with the charges against him, you would think somebody would have been unpressed him. But then you got people out here talking about he probably paid dude to beat him up. It's funny that they try to reconstruct this narrative now though. It went from he's so desperate to get out, he got this Latin king to beat him up. It went from that to what else did they say? Um, it was just a lot of bullshit surrounding that
Yeah,
whole situation.
I told him, man, you in prison. You gotta understand. Even on the street, somebody sneak you to get caught off guard, and they don't. I mean, look what they did to 6ix9ine. I mean, he wasn't even. He was active and he got. So to catch somebody sleeping and man, you really don't do the type of damage you would think. How that one guy that called in made it seem like Kels was just screaming for his life when the guy.
Right, but guess what? If his attorneys had acted and requested some type of disciplinary for the officers that allowed this to happen, don't you think we would have heard that or something?
Mhm.
Yeah, see that's like I was explaining again with like see when R. Kelly first came in, he was on protective custody because of his allegations,
Hmm.
in those cases. But it was people like me, like I really wanted to write a book about him because I'm a book author. So, I was again plugged in with the GDs, the Vice Lords, other, the Kings. I was cool with everybody in there. You know what I'm saying? So I was one of the guys who asked to, try to get him on general population. Now, when he got on general population, with him having certain ties in Chicago, he went under the umbrella of the Blackstones basically, and the Blackstones and the Latin Kings run together in there. So the Latin Kings and the Blackstones was his protection in there. So
Right,
that's why I was saying like I know the Kings didn't tell him to do that. Farmer was really like a send nobody's. Like if one of the Latin Kings snitching, that he the one that got to go stab dude or whatever. He was just a send off like that. He wasn't nobody
right,
important in there. He wasn't no factor. But the ones who was a factor, I know them personally, and they was
right.
pissed off that he did that. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
They was at the point like he can't come back on the unit with us. His ass got to stay in protective custody now because he did that on our time. He wasn't supposed to do that, and that's why.
Right,
That's why when y'all say like the government he say the government told him to do that. That could be true because the rule was at the time during the COVID shit, which was when it happened, was you only supposed to open one cell at a time. So
Wow.
Farmer cell was not supposed to be open at the same time R. Kelly cell was open.
Wow.
him saying, I think him saying the government made him do it, that was just a play on words for the simple fact, like I mentioned earlier. They should have had him more secure when he was out and about. They shouldn't have had R. Kelly's cell open, right? So that, in a sense, is what he's saying, in the fact that he told the man what he was gonna go do, and he went and did it. No, nobody tried to stop him.
Yeah,
So, in a sense, I guess you could say the government made him do it because he was so stressed out. He wanted to get some attention. He knew to lash out at the R&B King. Like, that's common sense.
that could be the case too. But see, I don't know if you heard the interview I did with infamous Sylvia, but I explained on there that they had opened when I was on the unit with R. Kelly, they opened his cell for me. And I was
Hmm.
walking around, but I told them like I'm finna go in there and whoop his ass. And they was laughing,
Right,
but they was finna open it for me anyway. But before they open that, I'm like, no, he just got my belongings. I need to get my belongings from him real quick. And they still
right.
let me go all in this cell. I sat in there for a couple minutes talking to him. They wasn't supposed to do none of that. I could have really did
Wow.
something to him.
So that's two incidents where they put his life at jeopardy. And
Wow.
again, He's already exposed to these health issues. It's like y'all want this man to die by any means necessary, whether it's somebody beating up on him, whether he gets sick, or even now he's sick and being, not in a position to be properly cared for. They're not giving him his meds, allegedly. Things like that.
Yeah, that's part of what my lawsuit based on, and that's why
So that's why I'm like, you were the perfect person to bring this back because again, who's the perfect person to act on this? R. Kelly. What can we do?
and
It's
that's
happening to him.
and that's why he added as a witness in my lawsuit because the things that they doing to him, and there with the whole medical shit, like it's called a deliberate indifference claim for medical malpractice. You know what I'm saying? And that's a violation under the Eighth Amendment. So you know he added as a witness because they doing it to him too. So you can get on the stand and say, yeah, that's what the fuck y'all was really doing to us. Y'all
Right.
did it to Ronnie Bowe. Y'all did it to me too. You know what I mean?
Right.
So do they ever try to make it seem like y'all refuse medical attention as a excuse?
They never really made it seem like that, but what they was doing, they was, saying shit like because of the COVID, they got behind on so many medical requests. They had thousands of people who they had to see and couldn't get to because of COVID. So that supposed to be that.
Oh. Explain how you would put in a medical request for those who may not know.
Well, you could do it through email, but when they weren't letting us out, they was passing out the forms. You could send a form in too, but the forms was like running out and they weren't providing us with it. So being that they weren't letting us out to use emails and they weren't providing us with forms, the only way that we was able to request medical attention was like a nurse is supposed to come on the unit at least once a day. I think twice a day, morning and night. So that was the only time we could say, look, we down in this motherfucker. We need some help. You know what I'm saying? And most of the time they had just it'd be like so many people on the unit with requests and you know what I'm saying, crying for their life that they just ignore everybody.
I heard you on
And
your first interview. The first interview you did, I heard you say that they put you in a cell with a COVID positive person.
Yeah, what they tried. It was this 80. You talking about when I mentioned the 85-year-old man, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, nah, he was dying. He already had all type of pre-existing medical conditions. So, the rule was we were supposed to quarantine in the cell alone. And
Right.
they basically singled me out and was like, "Hey, you got to go cell with him. We need some more room." And I'm like, "Y'all got me fucked up. I'm not finna go in the cell with dude. He dying. You know what I'm saying? What if he die? Y'all gonna say I killed him so y'all can, you know what I'm saying?"
Yeah. Yeah.
So I wouldn't go. So they gave me the option. All right, either you gonna go in the cell with him or you gonna go to the hole. And my thing was shit. Take me to the hole. Then I'm already in the hole. I'm
Right.
already. I already can't get on the phone or use emails. Like shit. What's the difference? So they took me to the worst room in the hole, a room that they really weren't even supposed to put nobody in because it wasn't even no bed in there or nothing. Like they put me on the floor, stripped me naked, had shackles and cuffs on me for like over 24 hours. You know what I'm saying?
Ah.
While I had just tested positive for COVID and had just passed out because I got asthma and COVID had hit me so bad that it was like I really felt like I was finna die in that motherfucker. So
Wow.
I felt like they really wanted to induce my homicide because they seen what I was suffering. Then y'all try to force me to go in the cell with a man who almost dying already, and y'all know I'm gonna say no. You know what I mean? And okay, well now we can put you in this cell and let you sit in that motherfucker and die. Basically, that's what I felt like they was trying to do to me.
How was the warden like in that ran that prison? Like
Was
was it
we never a lot of inmates complain about that too because so many inmates file complaints, but we never seen the warden in there. You know,
wow?
the closest we get is what they call what they call her, the AW or something. She like, oh
Yep.
yeah, the AW. She the assistant warden. That's the
Assistant warden.
closest thing, and then the captain. And we had a racist ass white captain who basically openly expressed racism. Like when the shit happened with George Floyd, I get into an argument with him because he basically joking and saying George Floyd had deserved to die because he was a crackhead and shit. So I'm in there arguing with him about that. You know that these the type of people they got running these prisons though.
Uh, and let it,
So, did anybody did y'all have what's called grievance letters that y'all could have submitted?
That's part of my lawsuit too because during that COVID, so many people had complaints that they claimed that they ran out of grievance forms. They wasn't providing us with grievance forms. And that's against our constitutional rights under the 5th and the 14th Amendment.
man, what call
So
it?
hold on. So your communication device is outside the pod whenever you can get out to it. You can't access the nurse except one time a day. So if you get sick when she leave, you fucked up. They gonna run out of paper for you to tell the people you're sick.
Right. And they get tax money that they are providing tax money to make sure that they have enough paper every god doggone day. You should never run out.
and that's why that specifically in my lawsuit because you're absolutely right, and that was a violation of our due process rights under the 5th and 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution.
Right. That's crazy.
Yeah.
At one point in time, they had it to where they had a system where you can make a free call, maybe one free call or something like that. But now, you know how much money they making off those little communication devices where you got to add all this money and do the little cord links and all that shit.
I mean, yeah, I mean the email's kind of expensive.
So
Yeah,
if you don't have people, so they lock you up. Let's say you are poor and you get locked up, so you can't even afford no commissary, much less money on to talk to nobody. So you just gonna be up shit creek if you don't run across nobody that could help you out inside.
most of us go through that though, especially like when you first come in, because like especially in the feds, you like your minutes, you gotta wait for them to check you in. That take days. You gotta get a certain number to be able to use the phone, like a PIN number or something like that. And that take days, so you waiting on that, so you can't call nobody like, look, this where they sent me, put some money on my books, you know what I mean? And then in the feds, you only get 300 minutes a month. And I don't know if that might sound like a sufficient amount of minutes, but
Hell no.
I was using my 300 minutes like in 4 days. So I'm going most of the month not being able to make calls.
And they taking half of your minutes when they interrupt the call with you being monitored. You on a federal recorded phone call.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
do that shit at least 3 times while you on there.
this is so okay. So of course, with R. Kelly, we pretty much knew with him owing money, they were going to attack that commentary, and it was pretty much well known that the reason why he was getting denied bond is they entered in this defense fund that they said gave him opportunity to flee. They were basically saying he was a flight risk and a danger to the community. So with that being said, if he gets in there, he's already having a delayed in how he can get assistance, get commissary and things like that. Unless he knew somebody, he wouldn't have been able to access a commissary anyway.
Nah, I mean, I don't know exactly what you mean by that, but it's things that you could do with your commissary. Like you can even send a certain amount out to certain people, if this on your list or whatever.
Well, I know in some jails when you owe a facility or even owe the jail, they'll deduct it from your commissary, right?
Oh yeah, especially if you owe like some restitution or anything dealing with the government. Yeah, they definitely take a certain percentage out.
So if we knew he owed for child support and his ex-wife was trying to get it, then we knew that's why people were trying to put money in a trust fund so that if he needed anything, he would have it.
Oh yeah,
Child support gonna take that and see. I'm from the South, so now even if you get work release, shit, you gotta start paying for you even living in for you being incarcerated. You gotta pay for you being incarcerated.
Right.
Got
So
work
I
release.
guess the question is, do you know if he had somebody that could have helped them along the way in those gray areas?
as far as what sending money.
As far as him being able to get anything or the fact that he may have needed something in his first 2 weeks of being there and couldn't get it.
I ain't gonna lie, believe it or not, R. Kelly had people sending them money. He didn't even know who they was. Like for real. Like, and he had letters coming from all type of places, fan mail. Just, I mean, he had support.
So at one point he was definitely able to access it until they seized it.
Yeah, he was able. I mean, we can only spend. I think it was 140 or 150 a month. You could spend in there, and
Right,
out the no matter of fact, it's 300. You could spend like $75 a week.
right.
Yeah,
So I also wanted to put that out there because people were running to the internet, not only saying that R. Kelly got the farmer guy to beat him up so he can get out, but they were also saying that people were extorting him in jail.
hell no. Like, believe it, trust me. We had love for R. Kelly in there. One
Right.
of, one
I
of
say all the time, man. People make it. They try to say because he's saying R&B music, like the dude ain't. You know what I'm saying? Listen at his. Look at it. Listen when you look at his background. This dude comes from the struggle, man. So he know how to survive if he have to.
Right.
You put a person back against the wall. I don't care who it is. The scariest person you know.
yeah. He just had like I said, I don't know his ties to the Black Stones, but they was obligated to protect them, and then outside of that, like the GDs loved him. They, you know what I'm saying? We messed with him. The Vice Lords too. Like he had love in there. Wasn't nobody extorting him or none of that for sure.
That's good.
What he was doing though, because of everything that was going on with his money, like he might ask me, could he send a couple $100 to my account, have his people send some money to this person's account, but it's all going back to him. He might hit our hand and say, well, they sent you $100, you could keep $25 out of it. You know what I'm saying? It was people up in there like that who was nobody was sending them money. So, you know, people like R. Kelly who got support like that would send people who never ordered $300 a month, and just hit their hand. You get $75 out of this or something. But other than that, no, he was definitely not getting extorted.
Right. That's the
So
common
you're
practice.
saying, hold on. So you're saying even going through what he's going through, he's still in there helping people who ain't got people that could send them money.
Yeah, I mean, if you consider that helping them, but it's just some greedy inmates do when you want to order a whole bunch of shit. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You got money, just this person never ordered. We know he never ordered, so put 300 on his books, and you order this for me, and you keep $100 out of it, or something like that.
Okay. That makes sense.
And that's like a common
Makes sense.
practice. Inmates
Yeah,
like to be greedy, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
That ain't just no R. Kelly type of. He made it up when he came out. You know how the people on the internet when R. Kelly went to jail? Yeah, he started it. He started sharing money to get extra commissary. Like it just
Right, right.
no, yeah, he definitely right. You must have been up in there too, big bro.
I ain't, man. Knock on wood, man. I've been blessed by the Most High. You know,
Oh, okay.
I'm from Louisiana, man. I watch a lot of the jail documentaries. I watch a lot of documentaries and stuff like that. I'm into a lot of the like the Frank Matthews and Eddie Jacksons and all them guys from back there, Frank Lucas, and I watch a lot of that stuff. So just listening, and I got a brother. My younger brother was in the feds. I got a cousin right now. He's in state, but he got a capital murder. He got life plus 50 years at 25 years old. So it's just like it's a bigger picture for why I advocate the way that I do, because when I spin this block, I'm gonna go spin that block, and because I want to try to help out as much as I can. I got a family member who got a life plus 50 years and you ain't even pulled a trigger, but the guy who did turn state on you. You took it to trial and
That's another example of how corrupt this system is. As long as they get a conviction, they don't give a fuck.
Absolutely. But the point we've made, all the things we've watched them do to get this specific conviction, is going to be overturned. And that's why they really mad on this internet. That's why they mad. Because they know R. Kelly going to be free. And they know it's going to pave the way for a whole lot of people to utilize their voice. That's
Yeah,
why they mad.
for
And
sure.
I thank you, Ronnie Bowe, for being an inspiration for other men who might be watching you and thinking, I could do, you know what? Because even those people that may think you're not telling the truth or weren't in the cell with R. Kelly or anything, guess what? You didn't have to gravitate toward the fact that he said he was in the cell with R. Kelly. You could have just listened to his story as Ronnie Bowe.
Yeah,
Okay? That's where people get shit fucked up, because they some clout chasers in this motherfucker, and they go to the headlines and shit, and you just got a story to tell. They don't even want to fucking hear unless you say R. Kelly. Fuck
yeah.
y'all. How about that?
But it's funny to me though because mine is actually documented. Like you could actually
right.
look up my case or my lawsuit and see that I was in there. Not just stuff that I filed, but stuff that the judge filed, and like the judge basically filed something saying you can only represent yourself. You can't represent R. Kelly and everybody else in there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's documented. One of the cases is case number 20 CV 3070 in the Northern District of Illinois, and the other one is also in the Northern District of Illinois. That one is 22 CV 5440. I think a lot of those documents been uploaded online already though. So I mean that's all they got to do. I ain't gotta lie about no shit like that.
Hey, you solid, bro. I told him when I seen you with that paperwork, you ain't bringing no paperwork around for nothing, man.
I
You
Yeah,
know. Yeah.
know what I wanted to add. Okay, so those that don't know, are you familiar with the ACLU?
yep.
So if you were incarcerated, how would you reach out to them?
Man, fuck the ACLU because
They're not doing nothing.
I mean, before I filed my lawsuit myself, me and down there every other inmate who was complaining because we weren't getting grievances, they was reaching out to the ACLU and they didn't jump on the bandwagon until like 6 months after I filed the lawsuit myself. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? So, like I said, fuck them. A lot of them so-called nonprofit organizations that supposed to be here to help us, they ain't no different from the government. They all getting paid by the government, and they don't want to go against the government trying to help no niggas like us.
Right. So if anybody missed the biggest purpose in what we do, clearly is not to interfere with a federal case. Clearly the point is to promote unity amongst all of us so that these people that's watching, they know we see the bullshit. We see the lies. We saw the overkill. We saw all the little secret meetings they were doing to conspire with their janky ass evidence. We saw them doing the most trying to flip these Jane Does. And here you have before you a man who's telling you his inside stories of corruption that could apply to any person. But people wanted to act like just because this was R. Kelly, he would get some type of grand stage, I don't know, treatment. That's the truth. So with that being said, that's all I got for today. Anybody else want to say anything?
I'm done. Just tell people to continue to fight. Continue to pay attention. Continue to support Ronnie Bowe and his efforts and what he doing. If I can get any information that I come across of a prima share any of your information, I most definitely have my people sharing it on my platform as well. You know what I'm saying? Stand up guy, man. Like I say, man, educated, stand up on principle. Just man, be aware, man, be vigilant at all time, man. You're a dangerous man right now.
I appreciate you, big bro. And it ain't a lot of real ones, like us out here. So we definitely need to stick together. And as far as being vigilant, that's probably the best advice I can get because I even got my mama. She been paying attention to these interviews and saying you better be careful what you say for they come back and get your ass again. So yeah, yeah, I appreciate that though. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna reach out to her platform and send her. Well, you got all my information though, right?
Yeah.
You got email too.
Mm, I think so. If not, I'll text you later.
Okay. Your platform is Big V.
Big Vi opinion.
Big Vi. Okay. All right. So I don't want to be calling you prima donna because you told me your name, but but I'm gonna send you my email so you can send it to bro
Oh,
Okay.
most definitely.
Oh, when's the music dropping?
next week.
Okay, we gonna be watching. We gonna be watching.
That's when the diss. It ain't really a diss song. I'm just covering the foul shit that Jay-Z been doing in the game. It's really just a song in support of R. Kelly.
That's what's up. You
Yeah.
know we gonna support it.
All right. Much love
They,
and respect.
they asked one last question. Was Kels able to play basketball, or was it still? I'm not sure when you came home. They say was he able to play basketball?
Yeah. Before the COVID hit, I think it was Rick at least 3 times a week. He was going. He was going every time it was Rick to play basketball. Though he cold too. For him to be his age, he damn near was like one of the best basketball players in there.
Say he got you.
Oh, I'm garbage in basketball. I stay in my lane. I know how to. I know how to rap and write books, so I'm gonna just stick to that.
Shit, you could put a lawsuit together.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's a lane I just got in about 5 years ago though. Once I got tired of all the corrupt shit they was doing to me, and tired of paying these lawyers all that money and they not doing nothing, I just like let me sit down. I know how to read, so let me study this shit myself then.
This kind of remind me of your guy, man, because I end up looking into his actual story. The guy that did For Life, the 50 Cent documentary, Isaac Wright Jr. And he was a guy went on a drug kingpin charge, never studied criminal law, none of that. And when he got locked up, he started studying law and became a lawyer. And the dude like to his just reading this, looking at his story, it made me get more into like the inside of like how stuff go into politics, like. But the dude was able to work cases to change laws to help overturn his conviction while in prison. Like, uh, it was cold. Like, but they took that show off of air though. I told people now they people in the world gotta look and see what they doing. They display holes. They display sex traffic. They like what they charge R. Kelly for now. The Mann Act, right? But what you call flavor of love?
That's what I said. He was flying and they were getting flued out a
What you
long
call
time
Bambi?
ago.
Bambi flying niggas in. But this is what
Rock
the
of
Mann Act,
love,
right?
like we could go on and on.
And this is a show that this is what they display to the TV. But they say R. Kelly is the baddest person in the world for having relationships with girlfriends that they travel together with. So, but when you put a show on TV like For Life that's educational and is showing the corruption within the prosecutors, the district attorneys, the judges, they take that show off air.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if you're aware, bro, but the same morning that first interview that you said you watched, the same morning that interview came out when I'm speaking on behalf of R. Kelly, like I had 6 social media pages and they just mysteriously all got taken down.
Wow.
Like that's why if you go on my pages now, I probably got like 100 followers on each page because I had to create whole new pages.
Yeah. Yeah, you most definitely gotta stay vigilant, man, because they on your trail. And that's just it. Once you come at the government, they hate that. They expect you to bow down to them. And when you
Yeah.
stand up, and that was Tupac's biggest thing, he wouldn't lay down, he wouldn't he cooperated a little bit, but when he wouldn't take full direction from them and what they wanted him to do. They say we're gonna stop the uprising of a new Messiah. We can't have you waking up these motherfuckers because when you talk about a brother that got a baby and he put so much, that song means so much to me when he say when he telling the community like Brenda got a baby but she barely got a brain, but the people in the hood like shit, well that ain't our problem. But
Yeah,
like, let me tell y'all how this affect the whole community. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? This is
yeah,
that we have to stop. That we turn the blind eye to it. The white folks, well, the government gonna continue to benefit off of it because guess what? All these motherfuckers getting on welfare, then guess what? They they locking the man up, so that's more of our brothers locked up. So it's the trickle down effect of everything. Everything is like a cause and effect when it comes and it affects our community the worst because unity is the only thing that we have yet to understand the importance of.
Right.
well, let's unite then.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. When real recognize real, and that's something that nobody has to. It should. What I always say, it got to be in you, not on you, man. If it's in you, it's in you. You can't. You know what I'm saying? That's just it.
Yeah,
We gonna keep moving, and I get Prima, like you say, she one of the coldest on this internet, and I got my platform is full of stand up guys. You know what I'm saying that they be ready to work and ready to go, and they on the same principles that we talk about. So that's it, man. And like I say, when Prima posts the information, I'm most definitely get it. I'm most definitely gonna be copying it and talking about it over on my platform. I'm gonna be replaying this live on my platform too, so
oh,
people can hear because you talked about a lot of the inside details, not this shit that's on the outside, the shit that's go on in the inside, the prison politics. For you to say that y'all never saw the warden, the inmate, the house, or fucking, I mean, it's a bunch of people in there. How you not introduce yourself? How are people not able to come and see you? If they have a complaint, if my complaint go to the guard take it to the assistant, it never get addressed by the warden, so that means it's just going on deaf ears.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, for sure.
The warden is
Absolutely.
supposed to make them decisions. But I'm gonna let y'all go. I'm at work on this clock. Prima Donna, I love you. Thank you for sending me the invite, sis. It's all love, you know, and I know it's all love in return. Um, I don't know when I'll be going live again, but most definitely, Johnny, we do the next, I just previously did a 24-hour lockdown, 24-hour lock-in live on R. Kelly about a couple weeks ago. We was live for 24 hours straight R. Kelly information, details, stuff about what has transpired. So we got another one coming up on the 28th of April. So if your schedule looking good or you'll be able to slide over in there, I'm gonna get the email from Primo or whatever. I'm gonna email it. I can email you the details or whatever. So we're gonna do another 24-hour live, just bringing awareness to R. Kelly, the state of the culture, um, changing the narrative, and we also have an adult talk segment where we talk about adulting. So that's gonna be on the next live that we do on April the 28th.
Okay, bet. You got my support.
I can't wait to see it because the conversations from the last one, I was in and out the chat. Of course, I can't sit on there all day,
Yeah,
but that was amazing that y'all did that. And I just wanted to, again, let you know that we appreciate that. For the
oh,
lady, I'm going to drop his book, the other book that I was talking about earlier in
yeah.
the live. I'm going to
I'm
drop
gonna
that
read that
book
too. Oh,
in
that's
my
good.
community wall, too.
Okay. Y'all have a blessed night, man. Till next time, man.
Uh,
Have a good night.
you too, bro. All right, prima donna.
I appreciate you taking the time to sit down and talk to us. This was very enlightening. We hope to have you again another time if you agree.
Oh, you know I got you.
And like I said, we behind you 100%. Anything you need us to do, just let us know. We got you.
All right. I wouldn't have been able to stay on here that long if you weren't so pretty.
Thank you.
You have a good night. We'll be in touch.
You too. Thank you.
All right.
Y'all have a good night in the chat. I do appreciate y'all for coming in. I don't get on here much, but I appreciate you for joining the show, and maybe we can continue to build on this conversation. Free R. Kelly till R. Kelly is free, because it's only a matter of time.